policy support, and local problem solving. And about major public investments and institutional foundations, last government, that is the first Pinarayi government, initiated the establishment of 30 inter-university centers of excellence using KIFBI funding. And along with that, the government invested directly in human capital through 500 Chief Ministers Navakerala fellowships and 176 Chief Ministers Navakerala postdoctoral fellowship have been awarded till date. And to recognize excellence and impact, the government instituted the Kairali Research Awards also. The second Pinarayi government successfully established a comprehensive network of centers of excellence. First one is Kerala Institute of Science, Technology and Innovation, KISTI, that is centered in Mahatma Gandhi universities. This center is envisioned as a national level center for frontier research and innovation in science and technology, drawing inspiration from institutions like JNCSR Bangalore. The Kerala Institute of Advanced Studies, KIAS Munnar, that is yet to be established. It is conceived as a national and international institute of advanced scholarship comparable to the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Simla. It is to be inaugurated within 2 weeks. The Kerala Language Network, KLN, to advance high-level research in languages, literature and knowledge traditions. The Kerala Institute of Gender Equity, that is to strengthen gender-focused research and policy interventions. The Center for Indigenous Peoples Education. This center is intended to promote research grounded in indigenous people's education and community-based learning. The Center for Teaching, Learning and Training is intended to lead curriculum innovation, advanced pedagogy and academic capacity building. The Kerala Institute of Policy Studies, that is to provide research-driven support for evidence-based policy making in higher education. The Center for Analytical Services, CAS, that is to meet advanced analytical and testing needs of universities, industries, and startups. The Kerala Knowledge Consortium, that is intended to conduct mission-oriented research focused on local and regional challenges and develop scalable solutions. KNR SHE and the statewide research support architecture, that is through Kerala Network for Research Support in Higher Education. We have developed world-class laboratory complexes in Kerala University, MG University, and CUSAT. And this research support network is intended to create a statewide shared network of research facilities, central instrumentation and research laboratories, provision of maintenance and AMC support for sophisticated instruments in institutions willing to share facilities, research seed money schemes and patent filing support. Patent filing support will be provided by this center, and the schemes for fellowships and scholarships will be introduced to scholars and students. Then facilitation of inter-institutional collaboration and mobility. The government at present is giving emphasis to translational research, as I pointed out in my inaugural address, translating theoretical research into practical application, production of new knowledge, production of new products, processes, and services, which will be useful for humankind, which will serve as solutions for the problems existing in society. KIFBI is largely funding for the establishment of translational research centers. Research infrastructure development in Kerala is going on, that is progressing in a very satisfactory manner. Kerala has further accelerated infrastructure creation through large developmental projects in higher education through KIFBI, RUSA, and state-funded projects. And we have budgetary commitments and dedicated funds to help research support networks. Kerala Budget 2026-27 allocates 4,745.4 crores towards R&D. Notably, the education sector receives the highest share, 46.32% of total R&D allocation. Then 851.46 crore for higher education reforms and implementation of the 4-year UG program. Enhanced research fellowship. 295 crore for technical education and digital university management. So we can ensure the expansion of centers of excellence, research infrastructure, and popularization of science. Then academic pathway reforms and research talent pipeline. Kerala has already implemented the 4-year UG program with honors with research as a structured pathway to integrate students into research at an early stage from the degree level itself. And our universities are inspired and encouraged to sign MOUs with national and international centers of excellence, recognizing that contemporary research ecosystem thrive on collaboration and mobility. Kerala has prioritized the institutional networking at national and international levels. Global benchmarks and strategic research directions. International experience demonstrates that strong research ecosystems are built around mission mode, grand challenge research. A differentiated but networked system where research-intensive universities coexist with applied research-oriented colleges. And early integration of undergraduate research as a defining feature of higher education. Promotion of open science, research integrity, and data infrastructure. Deep industry-academia interface. Industry-academia startup integration. Developing innovation incubation startup atmosphere in higher education institutions. And now we have already formed Vision 2031 and beyond. By 2031, the government of Kerala envisions a higher education research ecosystem that is inclusive, globally connected, socially relevant, and innovation-driven, positioning Kerala as a leading hub in the emerging global knowledge economy. The state envisages a system in which every deserving research scholar receives assured financial, infrastructural, and mentoring support. So research in Kerala will be increasingly guided by social relevance, public needs, and developmental priorities, with strong emphasis on impact, applicability, and ethical responsibility. So looking beyond 2031 towards 2040, Kerala anticipates a global higher education and research ecosystem that is decentralized, digitalized, and deeply integrated with society. So Kerala tries to establish itself as a leader in inclusive, socially relevant, technology-enabled, and impact-oriented research and innovation. Principal Secretary Higher Education will be providing you a presentation on various research-oriented activities and the details of the establishment of different centers of excellence in the field of higher education. And after that, the Vice Chancellors will be elaborately stating the details of the research-oriented activities taking place in their universities. And after that, there will be the summing up. This is only a draft. You can go through it. And after the presentations by the Secretary and the Vice Chancellors, we can complete it, and the council and the assembly will be receiving it in total. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for rendering keynote address to this National Research Conference. Now, let me invite Dr. Sharmila Mary Joseph, IAS, Principal Secretary, Department of Higher Education, for rendering the special address. Presentation upload to that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister for Higher Education and Social Justice, Dr. Bindu, Vice Chairman of the Kerala State Higher Education Council, Dr. Rajan Gurukul, Vice Chancellors on the dais, Dr. Biju Kumar, Vice Chancellor KUFOS, Dr. Junaid, Vice Chancellor CUSAT, Dr. KK Saju, Vice Chancellor Kannur University, Madam Vice Chancellor Kaladi University, researchers, research scholars, Principal Women's College, faculty of the college, other faculty members, and students. Now, my job has been made quite easy because the Honorable Minister has already presented in detail in her inaugural address as well as in the keynote address in the session as to where Kerala stands as far as the higher education ecosystem of the state, the research ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem of the state is concerned, and what are the key initiatives undertaken by the state government to promote further, to promote and advance a research ecosystem in our universities and our institutions of higher education. So as the Honorable Minister pointed out, Kerala State, I'm reading out from her draft note, Kerala State stands at a pivotal moment in shaping the future of its higher education and research ecosystem. And we are building further on the strong foundations that we have already laid, that we have already created through sustained public investment, institutional reforms, shared infrastructure, and global partnerships. And now we are rapidly moving towards a research system that is inclusive, socially relevant, interdisciplinary, and globally connected. So I have made a small presentation which puts together our achievements in the higher education sector. I have been making different versions of this presentation at different fora over the last few days because we have been having discussions and presentations on the research and higher education ecosystem of our state. So therefore, I thought I would just cull out some of the key points in my previous presentations and just show where we stand as far as various indicators are concerned and as far as various innovations and investments that the state government has made in the higher education sector. So as far as the indicators are concerned, you are all quite aware how not just in primary education, not just in general education, but in higher education also, we have been making rapid strides in ensuring that no student is left behind, in ensuring that the higher education institutions are open to, or the doors of our higher education institutions are open to all students who are accessing higher education, and therefore we can boast of a very high gross enrollment ratio of 41.3 compared to the national average of 28. Gender parity index in our state is 1.44, while the national average is only 1.01. And if you look at the number of colleges per 100,000 population, or the number of universities, or when we look at various statistics outlined in the All India Survey on Higher Education, or outlined by Niti Aayog in its report on the higher education ecosystem, we find that our indicators, our rankings, our position is far ahead of most of the other states of the country. So this is the result of the substantial investment that we have made in the sector over the years. And over the last few years, this investment that we have made has increased in geometric proportion, has increased by leaps and bounds. And therefore, the focus that we have given to the research ecosystem has started bearing fruits, as the Honorable Minister mentioned. In our in universities, in our other higher education institutions, we are establishing centers of research. We are establishing centers where students, faculty, and researchers come together, discuss, and create their new ideas and translate their new ideas into products. So therefore, through funding for establishing the laboratory networks, through funding through connecting our universities with institutes of excellence in the country as well as abroad, we are pumping in money, or we are trying to pump in more money for giving a boost to the research ecosystem. And the Niti Aayog's report of February 2024, when it compares the budget for higher education that different state governments invest on education for training as well as higher education, when we go through that report, we find that the share of higher education budget as percentage of total expenditure on education and training by education and other departments is 15.29% in our state, while the national average is 12.7%. And again, when we look at the SDG 4s, the Sustainable Development Goals, we know that Sustainable Development Goal 4 pertains to education as well as higher education. And there, while the national ranking or the national position is 61, our position is 82, which again underlines and underscores the fact that we are giving the highest priority to promotion of general education and higher education in particular. This is a repetition of the previous slide. So the NIRF ranking, last year's NIRF ranking 2025, National Institutional Research Foundation ranking. So we find that, in the overall top 100 institutions, for all categories of educational institutions, 4 of our institutions figure in the top 100. And just the universities, 3 of our universities figure in the top 50. And when we take the state public universities, just the state public universities, 4 of our universities figure in the top 50. And when we take colleges as such, 18 are there in top 100, 3 in top 50. And out of these 18, 4 colleges are government colleges. National rankings also are, and international rankings as far as the research ecosystem is concerned, our universities have been able to make a mark in the various ranking frameworks by various ranking agencies. And as far as accreditation and recognition at the highest academic fora, international academic fora is concerned also, we find that the research articles and publications produced by our researchers attached to our universities, produced by our faculty members, have been given top recognition and have been recognized by international ranking agencies. So what have we done to bring in this transformative change in the higher education ecosystem of our state? I know that I'm repeating what has been said in the previous presentations in the inaugural address. Honorable Minister has also clearly delineated, the reform umbrella that we had opened, that we had unfolded in the higher education sector. So starting from reforms on the academic side, starting with the updation of the curriculum, and supporting policy decisions, supporting policy documents. We also went ahead with reforms in the governance system of the universities. We have we are bringing in administrative and legal reforms also, which would ensure that the administration at the universities, at the higher education system, we understand that there are problems, but we are trying to unknot, or loosen the knots that are there in the administrative and the legal ecosystem in the functioning of the higher educational institutions. And again, along with focus on research and innovation, we are also giving focus on skill development, because as many of you know, many international reports, like I'm forgetting the name of the report, but a recent report also mentioned that only 47% or 49% of the graduates coming out from the institutions in the country are employable. So the findings from such reports also drive our policy decisions on giving more focus and importance to the skilling and upskilling and reskilling of the students who are studying in our institutions. Uh, we know that for any research ecosystem, innovation ecosystem to flourish, the capabilities of the faculty also need to be updated and upgraded to what is happening in the rest of the world. So therefore, we encourage we encourage advancement of faculty capabilities in frontier technologies, and we also try to bring in the suitable changes in the curriculum, so that the curriculum would adapt to rapidly changing technological requirements, and also try to provide an ecosystem where through using digital tools, also leveraging digital technology, also we try to take the teachings and learnings from our institutions to the students across the state. So some of the major achievements Madam had already mentioned in her speeches. We rolled out FYUGP in all our institutions in our state universities from 2024-25 academic year. And now we are in the FAG end of the second academic year, where FYUGP was rolled out. There had been teething problems, but we have resolved quite a few, and trying to resolve the other problems also as and when the problems crop up. From 24-25 academic year onwards, we rolled out a uniform academic calendar. So this, I believe, tries to answer the concerns that students have generally, because their career planning for joining other institutions in other states or universities abroad, they need to have a correct idea of when we conduct our exams, when we come out with results. So our universities have also put systems in place to ensure that results are not delayed, results are published in time. And then again, to encourage the research ecosystem, as Madam mentioned, we are setting up translational research centers. Madam was specifically referring to how translational research should function in such a way that the reports or the findings of PhD theses and research articles should actually be translated to products which are useful for the society. We, in fact, are running a program, MTech program in translational engineering in our Barton Hill Engineering College in Trivandrum. Unfortunately, there aren't many takers for this project, maybe because youngsters are not fully aware of the huge potential of translational engineering. Nevertheless, we would like to highlight the fact that, unless research findings are actually translated into products, research would reside or hibernate within books and in the shelves of the institutions. So we wouldn't like the research findings to hibernate in the libraries or in the what is it, in the study halls of institutions. We would in fact like that to be translated and transformed into ideas, to be transformed into products which can be patented, products which can be scaled up, products which can be replicated. So therefore we are trying to give a major push to translational engineering. And then when we mention about the fellowships that we provide to doctoral students and postdoctoral students, we boast of one of the best fellowship programs for postdoctoral students, for postdoctoral research scholars in our state, which is otherwise termed or called the Chief Minister's Postdoctoral Fellowship Program. When we attend higher education seminars and conferences, we always lament that the industry academia linkage in our institutions is not to the desired level. We launched a program like industry in campus, and we are networking. Our institutions are networking with industrial units in their vicinity. However, we would like to see that this gets more attention, and small hub and spoke models of industry academia collaboration could be worked out and could be strengthened, whereby an industrial unit in an area can network with institutions in its vicinity and provide support to the teachers, the researchers, and the students in understanding how the industry works, and in understanding or creating newer products for the industrial unit, and which simultaneously enables the students' knowledge and technical skills also to be advanced. For instance, we have units in the Trivandrum Engineering College, or in the QSAT campus, or in the polytechnics in the Kalamasheri belt, which are networked with nearby industrial units. But we would like this networking to go to higher levels, or we would like this networking to be strengthened further if the students and the industry are to reap greater benefits from such linkages. So in the industry in campus initiative, we have industry labs in our colleges and polytechnics, where in some instances the industrial units provide equipments or set up their laboratories in the university. Some instances they set up this hub and spoke model of linkage. Some instances of internships, and we have different models of internships, can be just training or exposure visit, or just an orientation, or internships whereby internships which are on payment basis, or internships which are stipend based. Different models, we are working on different models. Ultimately, both sides, it should be a win-win situation for both sides, the industry as well as the academic partner. Digital initiatives, we know that the KREAP project, the KREAP end-to-end educational resource enterprise platform was launched for end-to-end mapping of the student's life cycle, right from the time that the student enrolls in the university till the time that the student passes out, and the credits can all be stored in the platform, and which would be useful not just for the life cycle of the student in that university, but would also facilitate his or her higher education outside the state or outside the country as well. So KREAP has advanced, or implementation of KREAP is at faster pace in some universities like Kannur University, but in some other universities it is still in the infancy stage. So we are having regular discussions with the collaborators or the coordinators of KREAP in the various universities to see that, all the universities are, the KREAP is fully onboarded in all the universities. Madam had also mentioned about the connectivity that we have brought in between our institutions. So the e-journal consortium and the CalNet, the library, academic libraries network, which we have set up with KESHEC support, enables or facilitates our researchers of different institutions to access the library resources, the books as well as the journals which are there in other universities. They would be able to get access to the library of, say, a Kannur University student will be able to access the library resources of Kerala University Library. So these are the kind of initiatives that we have undertaken in collaboration with the Higher Education Council to ensure that the fruits of digital technology are actually translated into results in the higher education sector. In order to further foster research and innovation in our higher education system, again with the support of the Higher Education Council, we have some specialized schemes like Erudite and Scholar in Residence. Erudite, where Nobel laureates were invited to some of our institutions, some of our universities, for interaction with the researchers and the faculty. So the Nobel laureates had come to our institution, stayed there for a couple of days or weeks, and such kind of interactions helped inculcate that spirit of inquisitiveness and innovation in our students and the researchers. Also, the Scholar in Residence, where researchers who have studied in our universities, gone abroad, made a name there in leading universities in the world, come back to our institutions for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, spend their time in the universities and interact with our people, our academic milieu, and try to again imbibe, try to again spread that awareness, or make our students and researchers more aware about the nitty-gritty of research, and also, again, as I mentioned, inculcate that spirit of inquisitiveness in our students. So therefore, as Madam had mentioned, universities are encouraged to enter into MOUs with research institutions of repute, both within the country as well as outside the country. And such collaborations ensure transfer of knowledge, and when knowledge is transferred, an environment of innovation also gets established, and that environment of innovation motivates our researchers and students to come up with newer products, as we saw in the expo just outside this hall. So in that expo, our universities, university centers, colleges have all put up stalls, and they are trying to show, or they are highlighting some of the products that they have developed in-house. Some of the products have already been patented. Some of the products may reach patentable levels. So the expo, gave us an idea, or have given us an idea, how that research innovation ecosystem that we have helped create in our institution has enabled the academic partners, or the academic community, to engage in research and innovation. And we hope that this ecosystem that we have laid down will get strengthened over the years, and our products would be of international standards, and would be noted and recognized by institutions, by institutions of repute, or the institutions which set the benchmarks for such products in the world. So centers of excellence, Madam mentioned in detail. I have just listed down 7 centers of excellence being operationalized under the aegis of the Kerala State Higher Education Council. And again, in this list, the KISTI, the Kerala Institute for Science, Technology and Innovation, primarily focuses on innovation and research enterprises. And again, the Kerala Network for Research Support in Higher Education also tries to link the research facilities that we have in our different universities. So the Tejaswini high-end computing system which we have in CUSAT, or the supercomputer which we have in the Trivandrum Engineering College, or another high-end computing facility which we have in MGU. These facilities are available not just for the researchers and faculty of that university. Through the cloud network or through the network that we have established through the Kerala Network for Research Support in Higher Education, these facilities can be accessed by researchers and faculty of other universities also. So with the support of KIFBI, we are setting up centers of excellence in the 3 main universities. Kerala University Center of Excellence would focus on astronomy and astrophysics. The Center of Excellence in Nanosciences and Nanotech is being established in MGU, and Neurodegeneration Center of Excellence in CUSAT, and I believe there is a stall in the expo on, on the Center of Excellence in the expo in the other hall. Scholarships, I mentioned about CM's Chief Minister's postdoctoral fellowship. Apart from that, we also have other research awards under the aegis of Higher Education Council and also the Higher Education Department and Department of Technical Education. So we have Kairali Research Awards, Gaveshaka Puraskaram, Gaveshna Puraskaram, and Kerala Lifetime Achievement Award, and other scholarships which try to attract youngsters to take up more deep dived and deep tech and high tech research projects. In emerging areas like artificial intelligence also, we are putting in substantial investment. So considering the courses that we run in our engineering colleges, polytechnics, and similar programs in other universities, we have more than 4,500 seats for subjects related to artificial intelligence in various institutions across the state. And with the support of ASAP, with the support of Digital University, and with the support of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, we are setting up more AI laboratories in our institutions. And it was only last month, or I think a couple of weeks back, that with the support of MITI, we entered into MOUs with MITI for setting up AI labs in 7 of our ITIs, 7 ITIs and 8 polytechnics in our state. Then semiconductor also, as Madam was mentioning, we are in the process of strengthening the research ecosystem that we have for semiconductor research. So in the Trivandrum Engineering Science Technology Research Park, the TREST Research Park, we have some units working on the semiconductor areas related to semiconductor, and I believe one unit, the Netra Semicon unit, has already produced some products for which they have got huge funding from funding agencies abroad. We are also putting in funding for or trying to put in more funds for research based on life sciences and biological sciences, because as most of you know, knowledge revolution in the 20th century has moved from the revolution related to the bits and the bytes, that is the digital revolution, to the revolution centered on genes. And this is one area where research, I believe, has not really taken off to the extent that we are planning for. The research in the biological sciences, the life sciences, is still in the nascent stage or the infancy stage. So therefore, we need to focus, we need to put in more funds in that area as well, because the future lies in the future of medical sciences, or the future of biological sciences lies in the deep dive research on the gene, the manipulation of the DNA and the RNA to produce newer, cures for rare diseases, for autoimmune diseases, for genetic diseases. So we all knew, or we all have passed through that COVID phase, and we know that, during the COVID breakdown, research institutions in Western countries worked on the DNA, the mRNA technology, and produced uh, newer kinds of vaccine. The vaccine developed for tackling or for attacking the coronavirus, the Pfizer vaccine, was based on mRNA technology, and this technology, was developed in the research universities in the US and other countries. So what we need to do now is to focus more on the biological research, where the biological research has to be in collaboration with technological advancement. So therefore, our science and technology wings in the universities, our life sciences departments need to work in more close collaboration with technical education wing, with technological department, like we have in the Sri Chitra Institute, where when Sri Chitra Institute developed the artificial heart valve, there was this collaboration, strong collaboration between their uh, medical sciences department and their physical sciences and the biotechnology and the medical biotechnology department. So that is the area of future where we need to invest more. So from bits, bytes, AI to the genetic revolution world. So I do not know whether we have many promising researchers from that field who are attending this 3-day conference or 3-day conclave here. But the future of the world, like the longevity of life, cure for rare diseases, or newer vaccines for newer diseases, all these can be developed when there is a closer or stronger linkage between biological sciences and technology. So our research also has to take that strong linkage or that collaboration forward. So I would end here. I look forward to good suggestions and discussion points from this 3-day forum, and I would hope that some of these findings or some of these points would be discussed further in the Vision 2031 conclave that is being organized by the State Planning Board in collaboration with the state government in Trivandrum on 15th, 16th, and 17th. So wishing this conference all success, I end. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Now we move on to the reflections by the Vice Chancellors on the policy document on higher education research and innovation presented by Honorable Minister of Higher Education. May I now cordially invite Professor M. Junaid Bushri, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Cochin University of Science and Technology, to share your reflections, sir.
A very warm good morning to one and all. Honorable Minister for Higher Education, Dr. R. Bindu Teacher, Honorable Chair of this session, Vice Chairman, Kerala State Higher Education Council, Honorable Dr. Rajan Varghese, Honorable Member Secretary, Kerala State Higher Education Council, Honorable Principal Secretary Dr. Sharmila Mary Joseph, Higher Education of Department of Government of Kerala, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Biju, Dr. Geeta Kumari, Dr. K.K. Saju, Honorable former Vice Chancellor of Cochin University Dr. Ganga Pratap, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dr. Sharath Anandamurthy, Kivambu University, and important dignitaries of the dais, and dear teachers and students. Indeed, it is a great initiative from the part of the government of Kerala for organizing this particular conference. I take this opportunity to congratulate Kerala State Higher Education Council for initiating this very positive move towards the development of Kerala as a knowledge-based economy in coming years. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude and thanks to, on behalf of the Cochin University of Science and Technology, to the Kerala Higher Education Council for organizing and inviting me to present our views in connection with the Kerala Research and Development Division for Higher Education National Conference and Kerala Higher Education Expo 2026. We know that there are a large scale investment is happened in the sector of the higher education in Kerala, and our state is moving towards a knowledge based economy, and we are using our knowledge as a capital for the development of entire development of our state. And this vision document is particularly focused on 2031, and of course this is a roadmap to the our aim to become the Vikasit Bharat 2047. As mentioned, our Principal Secretary of Higher Education about the latest development with respect to the development of some vaccines. It's more or less related to the mRNA based vaccines. So we know we faced a very critical stage and crucial stage with respect to challenging what happened the COVID pandemic. That time, anyway, we developed a vaccine. That means actually that vaccine is developed by the Oxford University's knowledge is converted by the AstraZeneca company, which translated that knowledge into reality as the first vaccine to tackle the COVID-19. So that's why we could have to manage the COVID-19 to a certain extent during that time. So this emphasizes the importance of the strong tie-up is required in the field of the higher education, particularly with the universities and industries, and the innovations that should have a strong tie-up with this industry and the universities. But innovations is not limited to not only to the what I can say, not only in the research. It should be the innovations is required in teaching and learning, and also in other areas also we should have to think about in that direction. As far as Cochin University is concerned, we have a large number of programs focused on all these ideas and with a particular focus on this vision document. And the initiative from the government of Kerala, the Nava Kerala Postdoctoral Fellowship, and also for giving other type of Kerala Research Awards, all these fellowship and programs definitely will encourage the knowledge ecosystem and research ecosystem of the Kerala. And Cochin University is concerned, Cochin University is, I think some other major universities of the Kerala is also giving the fellowship for the students for doing the research. And Cochin University is giving about 20,000 rupees per month as a fellowship for the research students. Those who are having any other fellowship from the national agencies or government of Kerala. And Cochin University is also offering a very somewhat a reasonable postdoctoral fellowship amount of 35,000 to the students, those who are undergoing postdoctoral studies. And we know that as far as some of the key points nowadays we consider with the education is the skills is very important. And Cochin University is having tie-up with some of the major industries in Kerala and abroad for the imparting specifically the skill-based education for our students. And Cochin University recently established a skill hub, which is more focused to give skill-based training for the students of the Cochin University and for the skill-based training for the allied industries in and around Cochin and Kerala. And this is not limited to only the skills in their technical skills, but also the skills for the capacity building and training for the managers, for the management training. All those things are Cochin University is providing. This is one of the major initiatives from the Cochin University is concerned. The other initiative what we recently took in this direction is with respect to the developing, strengthening the research infrastructure of the Kerala, and we got a very generous funding from the government of Kerala, 118 crores rupees under the KIFBI funding for the procuring highly advanced sophisticated instruments which is useful for the research purpose. These instruments are probably you may know that some of the instruments are high resolution scanning electron microscope and nuclear magnetic resonance spectrometer and confocal laser scanning electron microscope, and it's limited to all type of majority of the instruments, and some of the instruments which are more suited for the measuring the magnetic hyperthermia measurements, and Raman spectrometer, FTIR spectrometer, thermoanalytical system, and so wide variety of instruments and microscope. All those things are procured in the Cochin University of Science and Technology under the generous funding, majorly, mostly from the KIFBI. And for all of your information, all these instruments are open to the any researcher of India. Any researcher of India can access this instrument through a website. So they have to register to access this instrument, their name, and they can log in and they can locate in which department this instrument is located and who is the operator of that instrument, and they can book that instrument and they can access that facility. So this is what we have established under the Cochin University Science and Technology Analytical Instrumentation Facility. So this is, I think, the first kind of this facility established in our country in any university. I would like to say very proudly before all of you, the instruments of the Cochin University is open to all research colleges. So this, I would like to tell not only the instruments, all facilities of the university is open to public. Apart from that, we have a major research and academic collaborations with some of the major industries of Kerala. Particularly, probably you might have heard about one of the industries in Kerala's Synthete Group. And that group is basically worked previously on the import of the plant extract. That means they used to separate the active principles plant extract from different plants, and they used to export. Now they focused on the synthetic biology, and there is one center is established in our university, CVJ Center for the Synthetic Biology. And as part of the activities in collaborative activities of the CVJ Center for Synthetic Biology, university is offering MTech programs in synthetic biology. So synthetic biology is entirely an emerging new area. That means biomolecules can be synthesized by synthetically. It's not with the photosynthesis. So that is the crust of the synthetic biology. It is one of the emerging area as far as the biosynthesis is concerned. And Cochin University is also having this type of tie-up with another important industry, that is probably you might have heard about Geojit. And we are also having Geojit Center of Sustainable Development. And this center is offering different certification programs, and this center is also offering some of the value-added course for the students, those who are pursuing higher studies in Cochin University of Science and Technology. Apart from that, university is having a tie-up with major IT companies like IBM, and the LG is particularly more or less an electronic or the other type of products. We have the center with the tie-up with the LG, and Cochin University is also having tie-up with the Cochin Shipyard Limited and Masagon Shipyard Limited of the Bombay. So we are moving more ahead with the establishing more industrial collaboration as well as and we are trying to formulate the new programs to meet the catering the needs of the industries. But of course, we are all talking about the converting our research inventions and innovations into scalable products, and we have a very good strong ecosystem for the this type of startup. So innovations are we are converting into a startup. There are several startups are there, and incubation center is there, and we have one Section 8 company is there. That is Section 8 company is Kusatec Foundation. That company is working in Cochin University, and under RISE and some other centers are working in the university for promoting the startup activities of the students and as well as the other people. So these are the one of the some of the things what we are focusing nowadays. But of course, we could have to contribute other things in other direction. But we should have it also, universities also in a positive direction, not only for the generation of translating all those things, that means our inventions into a translatable and scalable research, but we are also focusing on the fundamental research. We are not yet prepared to give up the importance of the fundamental research. The fundamental research that happened in our university, we are also, because if the fundamental information is not available, it will be very difficult to build up the technology for the future. So we are also promoting the fundamental research and fundamental teaching and allied things in our university. These are some of the key points I would like to share share before with all of you. Because of time limitations, other vice chancellors are waiting to share their views on this higher education conclave. I take this opportunity to organize this all the best, and once again I would like to take this opportunity to express my thanks on behalf of the Cochin University of Science and Technology for inviting me to share views on the Higher Education National Research Conference. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative talk. Now, let me cordially invite Professor K.K. Saju, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kannur University, to share his thoughts with respect to this policy conclave.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for Higher Education, Dr. R. Bindu, very Honorable Vice Chairman of the Kerala State Higher Education Council, Dr. Rajan Gurukul, Member Secretary, Dr. Rajan Varghese, and a very respected Principal Secretary, Sharmila Madam, Vice Chancellors, and other dignitaries on and off the dais, my own mentor, Bhatnagar Award winner, Gangan Pratap sir, I think he has just left, members of the Kerala State Higher Education Council, and participants and delegates of this August conference, very good morning to all of you. I think all of them have given a very, very concise and elaborate view on many of the aspects covered under this National Research Conference, Kerala Research and Development Vision for Higher Education, with a policy framework and a draft guidelines. So I don't want to talk much about what exactly is going to be done, but I would just highlight some of the points which I was involved in. I passed out in 1991 as a mechanical engineer and joined a company, Kerala government company, TELC, in 93 to 99 I was there. And from there, I joined the university in 99, CUSAT. I've been in CUSAT for 26 years now. Ecosystem of Kerala, unlike, I don't know whether you are aware of it, people who are the new generation might not be aware. The startup ecosystem started in 2002 as a technology entrepreneur promotion program. And I was the first evaluator of that program, wherein we never looked at institutions. We looked at individuals who really were innovators. And then later on, it became the PRISM program, promotion of innovation in individuals and the MSMEs. So that was how it was growing up. And Kerala was the first state to really look at innovation in a big scale. And later on, it developed as the Kerala Startup Mission. Before that, there was Startup Village. We handed over the innovation ecosystem to a bunch of people in the Government Engineering College, Trivandrum, and led by Suju Kuruvilla. So that was an experiment. Then the Startup Village came, the Startup Mission was founded in 2014. Kerala came out with the first startup policy in 2014-15 in tandem with Karnataka and Rajasthan. So we had an upper hand on innovation. But you should understand what innovation is, invention is, discovery is, entrepreneurship is, and research is. If you really link up all these things together and get confused and muddled up, then you are not getting anywhere. Translational research and what is a minimum viable product is totally different. You study that in a very, very hard way. That innovation is something different. You will have to go through books by Subrata Bakshi, High Performance Entrepreneur, the founder of Mindtree, and books like that to understand what really innovation entrepreneurship is. But at this point, madam, I would like to really say that, see, you might have told about all the facilities existing here in almost all the institutions. These are all analytical equipments. Analytical equipments are going to help you in analysis. But fabrication is where we really are in the doldrums. We are in dire straits as far as fabrication. Even today morning, you might have seen 20 nanometer chip has been manufactured by, or I read the heading as it has been manufactured by Qualcomm, and it's a breakthrough technology that is there. But finally, if you read between the lines, you find that the manufacturing is done somewhere in Taiwan or somewhere else. So we do have the facilities to do all the design. Unless you manufacture it, then you are depending on some other country to finally come out with a product. So that is where you all have to concentrate. Analysis, like Honorable Vice Chancellor said, we also have a instrumentation center funded by KIFBI with all the modern equipments. The SATI scheme of Government of India, which I recently visited at IIT Hyderabad, has all the equipments, 100 crores of equipment, and analytical equipments. So that is not where we should really be focusing. That, of course, is one part of the game, but where we can manufacture. The Fab Labs founded in 2014 did help in Kerala Startup Mission, how fabrication has to be done. So this is one area which I would really expect the government to take some positive steps so that Kerala becomes a hub for manufacturing. If not chips, as you rightly said, Kerala produces the best doctors and nurses. And you should understand why Kerala produces the best doctors and nurses, and why not the best engineers. They produce the best engineers also if they go abroad to US. If you go to NASA, California, you find 90% of engineers are from India. And of the 90%, around 50% are from Kerala. So I myself am a Fulbright fellow, so I've seen it, and they are all doing well there. But you have to have the facilities to do that. And he's rightly said, if you go to IIT Guwahati, in the medical technology, so most of the, if you look at most of the departments, if you go to NUS, the department is mechanical engineering and medical technology. So this sort of interdisciplinary approach is required. The silos of the department, that is why NEP tells the silos have to be broken, and then you really have to have an interdisciplinary approach. So this sort of new approach is required, which we really have to focus. Science being science, maths being maths. So it's not like that. The entire thing has to be together. And what Dr. Bushri forgot to tell is that QSAT has around 7,000 students, of which around, I think, 60% are belonging to the engineering fraternity. And the undergraduate program is where innovation happens. Even the school level, the Young Innovators program, which the Kerala government is promoting, even where I am also an evaluator for quite some time, that is one area, because out-of-box ideas come from young minds. Once you go to the PG level, then you focus on research. Now you ask the researchers to do innovation. No, that's not the way. They might do translational research and come out with a product. So you should really identify where your priorities are. And priorities define what comes out finally. And this is where we are going to miss the bus. And our priorities, see, skilling, madam said about skilling. Now see, we come out with the best lawyers, we come out with the best chartered accountants, We come out with the best doctors, we come out with best nurses. They don't lack skills, madam. In fact, they are all very skilled. So you should understand what is happening there, because they are on the job. Right from the second semester onwards, they are on the job. Whereas we have to, it's a bookish type of rote learning where you teach something and they are never in tandem with any of the industries we are supposed to work. So this industry in campus program, which the government of India, government Kerala has really come out with, I thought it's going to be a very successful program, but even in the fag end of this 5 years, I don't know whether it has taken off to the extent which was really, it was envisaged to be. So industry in campus literally means the campus should have industries. Now, if you say MIT has come out with this product, Stanford has come out with products, these are not MIT professors coming out with products. These are companies incubating or full-fledged companies inside campus with the technology assistance of the teachers and professors, they're coming out with products. So these are examples followed in most of the IITs. Or you have an exclusive science park there, like Professor Junjanwala in 2002, when he came out with an idea of a science park being set up in IIT, nobody was there to buy the idea, but now look where it is. So this is the system which I think is going to be successful. And you rightly said, life sciences and medical sciences is one area, medical technology, where you have the Kerala Medical Consortium. That is one area which we have an upper hand, where we can really work. But if you're actually looking at fabrication of very, very sophisticated equipments, I don't think immediately we are going to make a mark on that. So life sciences with interdisciplinary approach, including technical and non-technical people, and life sciences, biotechnology, that will be, and genomic centers will be the area which we should really be concentrating on. Of course, design part of the chips and all those things, we might be brilliant in setting it up and exporting it to somewhere and then importing it back. So you should set up priorities right when you look at all these things. And translation research, just by the word, you don't get translation research. Everything cannot be translated. Something might be on the research area, something has to be translated. So this really should be a focus which we should. The mRNA vaccine, which you really said about Pfizer, it has got its own problem. When you have a messenger ribonucleic acid being sent into your body, it goes and do whatever it wants, but nobody has investigated what has happened to that. But the other vaccine which was developed is actually a real vaccine. You don't call an mRNA vaccine as a vaccine. You don't have a virus in that. It's actually something, it's really a mRNA which has been sent into your body to do some work. So vaccine itself is denatured virus. So there itself, there is a rhyming problem with that word itself. So these are things which we should really understand. Now, coming to Kannur, when in 2014, I set up the first Innovation Entrepreneurship Development Center, not the center sponsored by the Kerala government, it was center sponsored by the DST. So funding around 57 lakhs at that point. It was huge money at that point of time. And we used to fund student startups. So that is why you require a pre-incubator for students and a post-incubator and accelerator in every institution. Pre-incubator will cater to students' requirement, a post-incubator will be for the public, where students also can have their startups. So that sort of environment is required in almost all the institutions where you have the innovation ecosystem. Research institution, innovation and research, maybe there is a mix between that, but hardcore research, let it be like that. If innovation comes out of it, let it come. So that's the way it has to be approached. That's my view on that. Maybe there won't be takers or no takers in that. That is my experience. This innovation center actually came out with 10 patents for the students at that point of time in 2014. Then somebody understood that, I think Dr. Saji would have been the best person to explain, that IEDC is required in all the institutions. So we set up IEDCs across the entire engineering colleges. So that is one way in which things can be moved forward. Now, if you really look at Kannur University, when I have taken charge 1.5 years back, I understood that there's a Kannur University Innovation Foundation. They're doing well. So we have around 80 startups incubating inside Kannur University. Now we scaled it up to 200 now. There is space for more, in fact. So that is one area which is the strength of the university. So you have a research university and your strength is not innovation. Please focus more on research and give an impetus to innovation as and when it appears. You have some university which most of the time is on innovation scale, focus on that and mix it with the research. So that is how we are around 200 companies now planning to incubate in the university. We have something known as the Earn While You Learn program. And the government of India has come out with a very, very peculiar degree program. There are 19 universities offering the degree program in the country. It is known as AEDP, Apprenticeship Embedded Degree Program. So 1 year you will be doing internship. The program can start only with the collaboration of industry. And of the 19 universities, one of the universities in Karnataka and Kerala is Kannur University. So we are starting 2 programs, rolling out 2 programs in wood sciences and cyber security with tie-up with IBM and Western India Plywoods. So these are programs which might actually, you don't have to really skill them. So Earn While You Learn is when you have industry in campus, you learn while you earn while you learn. So more impetus on earning while you learn makes the students understand the situation, because industry is not like what you are taught in the MBA. It's a dynamic environment. It changes, and you have to be there to understand what it is. So I'm very sure that this particular draft guidelines will incorporate the points which might be very, I think the interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary approach has very clearly mentioned. But to be very frank with you, I am very, very concerned about the skilling of students. Skilling of students is a problem because we are not having enough faculty who are skilled. So capacity building of faculty is one area which really requires a push. Your faculty is skilled, automatically your student population gets skilled. So that is the exposure to industry by the faculty is one big thrust area which is very much required. You see doctors, their continuing medical education program is continuously going on. So they get skilled in the latest aspects and then they impart that to students. But the faculty, they don't get to, in the FDP program also, that is just eyewash. So you really require the faculty to be capacious and spend more money on skilling the faculty, capacity building the faculty. Naturally, the vanishing batch, the students are all vanishing. Faculty stays there. Get them updated and then you will find that you come out with the best students. Now, today morning, I read again that the research graduates or IITs are in high demand. Today morning, in the papers, if you've gone through the papers, you will see. Because all the industries are now concentrating on the R&D aspect. They want to set up their own R&D skill rather than taking some research like the GE and the L&T does, taking out some formula from outside and trying to reproduce that here. They want to set up their own design R&D units, which comes out with cutting edge research. So that area also is very, very important as far as research is concerned. So understand priorities. If your priority is on research, please concentrate entirely on research. If your priority is on innovation, but understand what innovation is. And don't tinker too much with innovation because everybody cannot be a successful entrepreneur. So that is very important. And then the government also has to have a very channel pipeline as to where you go from different institutions. The strength of the institution is very important. So I hope these are just some points which I wanted to really mention in this. I hope NEP 2020 implementation total would really break the silos, this academia industry divide which you call, that should never be there. There should not be divide. You cannot expect the industry to come over to the academia. No, that's not going to happen because it's a very, very watertight situation there. They are actually to hand-to-mouth situation. So you have to approach the industry, bring them here, and not bring them to just deliver speeches. That's not going to help. Set up shop inside the campus. And when you set up shop inside the campus, the first thing the assistant will write is, this is education institution land. How can you give it to an industry? That is the first sentence that will be there. I hope Madam will intervene in that and see that these sort of, some sort of objections in this aspect will be removed. Thank you so much for having invited me. I wish the conference, conclave, three-day conclave, all the success. We hope we will come to a very big and highly resolute policy after the 3 days of discussion, and then 2031, which we really aim to, will be, and beyond, will be really a successful Kerala, highlighting itself, projecting itself, because India as a nation is 38 in the Innovation Index, and I think Kerala is going to be one of the highlights or one of the pillars of that. Thank you all so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Now, let me cordially invite Professor A. Bijukumar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies, to share your insights, sir.
Thank you. Presentation Lodi. Respected Chairman, Secretary, Vice Chancellors, and research colleagues, I just wanted to present some of the points. You know, as said, particularly I will be focusing on the policy and what are the kind of the changes or the modifications or additions which are possible. All these are some of the personal reflections, being a teacher for the last 3 decades. And then you will understand that when you look at the, you know, the kind of the vision statement that is already given in the document on how in 2031 what could be the research policy as far as the Higher Education Council and institutions are concerned. And one other thing, definitely it's a beautiful document, but one other thing which I would suggest to add definitely is to for delivering solutions which are responsive and globally significant. So from global to local should be the focus of our vision primarily when you look at the points on the social requirements for Kerala. And that is how we can actually change our vision towards a better higher education sector, where the focus is always on the knowledge economy and sustainability. And then, you know, the second, how do innovation policy matters now? And that statement should also be there in the vision statement, primarily because you look at the world university ranking, especially in the last 2 years, and there is the universities in the south are getting more prominence, primarily because, you know, there is reduction in funds as far as the Western universities are concerned. So we should, one of the changes, especially in the recent higher education institutional ranking, is China is emerging. Many of the, for example, National University of Singapore is emerging in the first 10. And that means, you know, there is a stronger focus on Asia or southern countries where we can actually strongly focus and we can capitalize on that. That is one thing. And second is, you know, you can how we define the whole priority. And if you look at the national challenge which is provided by NITI Aayog, we can say that currently it is only 0.6 to 0.7% of the GDP, and which of course is very, very small, minuscule as far as the R&D infrastructure for the country is concerned. That means, you know, and if you look at the NITI Aayog report recently on higher education sector, it clearly it clearly emphasizes one point. The public universities in India are less funded, and that is one of the reasons why they are not contributing making an impact on the national level. And that is an area where we have to again focus. And what I would suggest definitely is already there are more and more center of excellence as far as Kerala is concerned. And what we need to do, especially if we have a vision for 2031, I don't know why, how can a vision be achieved in few years like 2031? It could be a larger period of time if you should definitely should have a kind of impact on the higher education ecosystem in India. And another problem why we need a Kerala research and innovation mission is primarily because look at the funding agencies in Kerala. For example, Kerala State Higher Education Council, Department of Environment, or Biodiversity Board, etc., which are the sole funding agencies as far as research funding agencies in Kerala. And everybody work in silos, and there is no connect between the universities and their requirements or the social demands as far as Kerala is concerned. And that I suggested that in the Kerala Science Congress as well, we should have some kind of mission mode program rather than giving project to anybody in all the parts of Kerala. So there should be the social demands of Kerala should be identified, and there should be some kind of mission mode programs. And then the government should actually fund the mission mode programs, which is identified as a state priority, especially, you know, when there is limitation of fund. And that is another suggestion. And second suggestion is definitely, ANRF has suggested a hub and spoke model. And hub and spoke model should actually work in Kerala. When many of the colleges in Kerala are going to be shut down, especially in the villages in 10-20 years' time, and then what will you do? And there should be networking, and there should be some hubs, and there should be some spokes. And many of the better performing colleges can be actually the spoke institutions with the universities. And then there can be some kind of lateral exchange of ideas, and strengthening of the faculty will be happening in the immediate future. So this kind of a hub and spoke model is now working well at the national level. It can also be followed in state, especially with the limited funding availability as far as Kerala is concerned. And another thing is that, you should have a dedicated research funding and dedicated common facilities for the state universities, which is already happening. But what is not happening is actually the performance-based incentives, which is not happening. And that should also happen. Otherwise, those who are working very hard, they will not get any kind of incentives to work on. And that is one possibility, which of course is already tried out with a lot of experiment by the private universities. And if you really wanted to have a stoppage of the people who are brain drained to the private universities, which is anticipated in future, we should have some kind of funding for the publications, patents, as well as for the performance of the individual teachers. And another is, how do you retain the talented facility within the educational institution system, which is not addressed in the vision document. And we should have a focus, especially youngsters. In the last few years, we are appointing, many of the universities in Kerala are appointing very good the younger faculty members. But many of them are leaving the institutions, and even if they are joining, and then they became very inactive, primarily because of the research ecosystem that we have in the universities. And how do we overcome these? And this is a very serious thing to be addressed for future, not for now, but for future. And that means we should have some kind of protection given to them in terms of the research time they spend on the universities. That means some kind of incentivization should happen, and they should also be allowed to work in other institutions for research purposes, not on a honorary, maybe on an honorary basis, and that will create a kind of new research ecosystem in universities. And also, they should also have a provision to work with the national institutions like IIT, ISES, etc. And there should be a statement like that. Already, many of the researchers are working in as such. And then, we always speak about revamping the curriculum,